WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 15th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds. Today, we're going to flirt with 100 degrees. Tonight, overnight, partly cloudy, low 77, and then Thursday, sun and clouds, warm again, high 95. Now, if you're walking out the door with us right now, 77 and clear in Clarkstown up in Rockland. It's 78 and clear in Ridgewood over in New Jersey, and it's 77 WABC degrees right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
There is a murder mystery in the Bronx. City council members get set to debate a horse and carriage ban today. Should we skip eating fruits and veggies so we don't get that dreaded parasite? Some surprising places where Legionnaires has now been detected. And a Hudson Valley family is really sorry they rented out their house for the weekend. All right, let's get into it at 5:04. The big story of the day will be heat again. We'll be right near 100 degrees here in the city. And combine that with the smoke from the Canadian wildfires again. They'll blanket the skies of the Northeast through at least the end of the week, and that paired with the hot, humid conditions expected during the same time, going to make it a little bit difficult for breathing for some today.
Just make sure you walk with water and probably cover your face, especially your children's face. Keep them protected.
Okay, as we deal with the start of this heat wave, Mayor Mamdani revising the death toll from the last one. He announced yesterday that 5 people died in the city during the July 4th holiday heat up. Remember that one? That was really bad. That is revised from a total, it was 3 before. New Jersey's total is around 30 dying from that heat wave.
If you see someone on the street that looks like dizzy or is about to faint, call help. 911 is always the best way to call someone that is about to faint. Yeah, that's the Emergency Office of Emergency Management just saying, hey, just take it easy over the next couple days. Same drill we did last time. Check in on seniors, people like that, make sure everybody's okay.
I have lung disease, so it's very hard for me to breathe. So my best thing is to just stay in the air conditioning.
Okay, so there'll be a slight haze in the air. You may have seen it a little bit yesterday. The thought is it's going to be a little bit thicker today. And again, it's those Canadian wildfires, which I totally don't. I have to be honest with you. I don't have an understanding why they have been unable to put those things out. But here they are again this summer, just like they were last summer. We'll see it in the air again today. 5:05 up to the Bronx. Cops have a murder mystery to solve there. Police searching for the gunman who shot and killed a 39-year-old Hudson Valley woman who was in the Wakefield section of the Bronx. This was just after midnight on Tuesday. Julia Anderson, coming home from work, shot twice in the chest as she sat in her Jeep Grand Cherokee on Murdoch Avenue. The shots apparently fired through the passenger side window. Police say the gunman fled the scene on a moped. He remains at large. Family members say that she was a hard-working woman who worked with people with disabilities as her job.
She usually comes home at 12 o'clock in the night, and usually when she comes out, she always making some kind of little noise or something, so I know she's home. But then I was wondering what happened.
I saw the vehicle across the street, and I saw the door open. I guess they were investigating, and that's all I know.
Yeah, those are Julia's family members, friends, co-workers say she was just an incredibly nice person. They say they have no idea who would have a beef with her.
I felt it so much for that girl this morning when I heard the news that you don't know. I think I was going to have a heart attack, but all I can tell, she's a very, very nice person.
Yeah, so loved ones say she was just a month away from her 40th birthday. Here's a mom.
My younger daughter came, and she told me she was going to, my heart felt like it was going to come out. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so far, no signs of that individual on the moped, that they apparently have video and some pretty clear pictures, so it's just a matter of time. 5:07, first check of traffic and transit on this early Wednesday morning. Good morning, Joe Nolan.
And Good morning, Norm. Good morning, everybody, from the Apple Bank Traffic Desk. If you're coming inbound on the Long Island Expressway, northern, southern states, all three are off to a great start. If you can get to an east-facing window, the sunrise is absolutely spectacular this morning.
We in an east-facing window? No, I don't think we are, right? Is this? I'm looking.
Yeah, but you got all the buildings in the way there.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Oh, well, okay.
I mean, it is really like it's like a sunset, like every color in the
great
spectrum is out there. It's gorgeous.
Just tease us with that. We can't see it.
Well, see here, where the traffic center is 3 blocks from the ocean. So,
that's pretty nice. Just make it even worse for us. All right. Yeah. Here we are trapped in the hot and muggy and disgusting Midtown Manhattan.
And you get to see gentle waves breaking on the beach. It's beautiful.
That's just great. Well, you go enjoy that. 5:09, the City Council going to hold a public hearing today regarding its bill to ban horse carriages. And it seems as though there are more lawmakers on board with this. So you had Mayor Mamdani yesterday saying he supports bringing the industry to an end, but he is concerned there may not be enough in this bill to help the workers who would lose their jobs.
Worker protections in that transition are critical so that we ensure that those who have been working in this industry for years, some even decades, also have a future that they can look to of employment, of training, of development. And I think that there is a path forward.
So banning horse carriages here in the city, of course, has been a controversial issue for a number of years. Resurfaced after that teenager who was visiting from India was killed in a horse and buggy accident last month. And then you had a horse that died from eating a poisonous plant in Central Park. And so that's why you're hearing all the fuss again.
I think whether they are development programs, training programs, whether they're also the questions of how to phase out that industry. And I think that there is an opening for us to have that conversation while we sunset this industry.
Yeah, so the bill up for consideration aims to help workers train for new jobs in different fields. Now, coming up after 5:30, we're going to hear from the head of the union who represents the horse and carriage drivers, who says this bill is not good. We'll hear from him coming up after 5:30. 5:11, let's go down to Washington, where Senator Lindsey Graham's sister was sworn in to fill his South Carolina Senate seat following his sudden death over the weekend. She was sworn in yesterday. The ceremony for Darlene Graham took place on the Senate floor yesterday afternoon.
And that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which you are about to enter. So help you God.
I do.
Yeah, so South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster announced that the late Republican senator's sister would serve in the role until the term ends in January. Now, Lindsey Graham, who passed away over the weekend due to some heart issues, 71 years old. He had won the primary back in June, the South Carolina Republican primary, and was easily on his way to another term as senator. So now they'll hold a special primary, Republican primary, in South Carolina on August 11th to pick a new candidate. But in the meantime, his sister will hold that spot until a new senator is found. And usually in South Carolina, Republicans win. While we're talking about Lindsey Graham, there was a nice moment in Washington yesterday. Besides just her taking the oath of office, you had Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan offering condolences to the late senator. She opened her testimony before the House Appropriations Committee. She reflected on Graham's role in her 20-10 confirmation, noting that he was one of just 5 Republicans to vote in favor of her nomination those years ago.
I want to express my gratitude towards him, not only for his support, but for approaching the confirmation process with the kind of seriousness that he did.
Yeah, nice little moment there in Washington. You don't get too many of those. 5:12. Let's go overseas. The war in Iran continues to be a mess. President Trump says airstrikes on Iran will continue until he says it's enough.
And they have fight. You know, it's like a great boxer. You think you have him beat, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he gives you a shot.
The president went on to say that the only way to negotiate with Iran is through strength, and threatened that the U.S. could hit bridges and power plants if Iran fails to negotiate.
Next week it gets really bad for them, because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. The only way you can negotiate with these people is through strength, and the only strength is military strength.
Now, this comes as the U.S. has reimposed the naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, launched strikes against Iran for a fourth straight day. President Trump, though, yesterday walked back those plans that would charge a 20% toll fee in the Strait of Hormuz.
The Gulf states are going to invest a tremendous amount of money into the United States, and that was very satisfactory to me. I think it's actually much better.
Yeah, so he said he pulled back on that toll idea after having some pretty productive conversations with Middle East leadership.
I don't think anybody should be able to charge a fee for the strait or for any other strait relationship in terms of other sections of the world. I don't think anybody should be really in that position.
All right, so Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard says last night they destroyed U.S. weapons in Kuwait and Bahrain. U.S. Treasury Department has issued new sanctions against Iran, targeting several individuals, entities, and vessels. And then overnight, Israel struck Gaza and killed at least 7 people there. And the Israeli Security Cabinet approving a budget of $443 million that'll establish 34 new settlements in the West Bank, all that taking place in the last 24 hours. In a moment, we will head up to Maine, where there's lots of talk about this shooting involving an ICE agent and an illegal immigrant. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noah Maladen. Start out here in Philadelphia. The American League is the winner of the 2026 MLB All-Star Game, shutting out the National League 4-0. The AL scored 3 first-inning runs off Philadelphia Phillies starting pitcher Christopher Sanchez, thanks to the Yankees' Cody Bellinger, the MVP of the game, and Ben Rice. Bellinger delivered a 2-run single, and Rice added an RBI single of his own. The AL continued to dominate from there, taking a no-hit bid into the 4th inning before the Mets. Juan Soto singled for the NL, one of just 3 hits on the night for the senior circuit, and the junior circuit pulls out the 4-0 win. Yankees open their second half action come Friday when they welcome in the LA Dodgers for the opener of a 3-game weekend series. As for the Mets, they'll remain in Philadelphia to open a 3-game series with the Phillies beginning tomorrow night. Let's head to the World Cup semifinals yesterday out in Arlington. Spain advanced to its first World Cup final since winning in 2010 with a 2-0 victory over France.
Where was Mbappe, man? They just shut down the French offense. Huh?
I mean, listen, the entire World Cup you've been hearing about this Spain defense. Yeah. That's all you've been hearing about. Spain's got the best defense in the world.
One goal throughout the entire World Cup, if I'm not mistaken. That's only one goal scored on them.
You would know. You would know better than I.
I think that's right.
But yeah, I mean, consensus has been that Spain has had the best defense in the tournament. They won it in 2010, which isn't, in terms of World Cup,
not so long ago.
And yeah, a very relevant team, a very good team. They were expected to get to this point by most experts and analysts, and here they are. Huh. I mean, I'm not sure they were supposed to beat France that easily, because they really skated for that 2-0 victory.
Did you watch that?
I watched most of the second half of it.
Yeah, they were never in the game.
Never.
No.
I mean, it was really, you were just waiting for the game to end at a certain point.
Yeah.
So, France goes back to, really just being a tourist attraction. People
and not a soccer powerhouse.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, nobody really likes escargot, let's be honest about it.
No, they don't. And they just pretend to.
Yeah, exactly. They will have to play in this third-place game in Miami coming up on Saturday. Spain will face either defending champion Argentina or England on Sunday in the final at MetLife in East Rutherford, and that semifinal will take place this afternoon from Atlanta, 3 p.m., England and Argentina. That is your sports.
Who's going to win that one?
I'm going with, I don't know, I think England. I watched England in their last game against Norway, and they looked very solid. Norway didn't look that good, obviously, but, England looked like the much, much better team compared to Norway, and we'll see. I mean, I think I'm rooting for Argentina, but I think my gut's telling me that England's going to pull it out. But obviously, I know nothing about soccer, so There you go.
We won't take your
word for it. Have to throw that disclaimer in there. Yeah. All right, back to you.
WABC News Time 5:19. President Trump meeting with Iraq's new prime minister at the White House yesterday, sitting alongside Ali al-Zaidi. He's the president called the new leader a good person.
In a short period of time, he's changed that country so much, especially toward their thinking about the United States.
Yeah, the president says new oil partnerships with Iraq are expected to be announced really soon.
But they have a great leader, the new prime minister. He's a great leader. I think he's going to be there for a long period of time. I mean, it was very important to me to have somebody get in there that can do the job and do it well, and we have a fantastic champion.
Yeah, so the president called the bilateral meeting with the prime minister great. Decided that they would add an unplanned lunch on to their meeting as well yesterday. 5:20, let's head up to Maine, where the independent senator there, Angus King, calling for a full, transparent, open investigation into Monday's fatal shooting of a man by an ICE agent there. The Maine independent senator says he spoke to Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen and learned that there's no body cam video of what happened.
We've been told that body cameras would be widely distributed. The secretary told me that they're on order, that they have been distributed widely across the country, but not everywhere, and apparently not in Biddeford, Maine.
Now, DHS officials say the man drove in the direction of an agent Monday, causing the agent to open fire, killing the 26-year-old from Colombia. They say more details will be released in the coming days.
What did he do with his vehicle? Were officers threatened? Were the threats rising to the level that justified deadly force? That's what this investigation is all about. We don't yet really know what happened, but to ensure that we find out what happened, and that if there were actions that were unjustified, that those who committed those actions will be held accountable.
And a third person has died after an encounter with immigration agents. News Nation's Connell McShane has the story.
It happened in St. Augustine, Florida. There was a man running from an encounter with immigration officers, and this man was struck and killed by a tractor trailer. So it is the third death in a week that in some way does involve encounters with ICE officers. Comes as the Trump administration now shifts its policy on immigration enforcement. Today, suspending most vehicle stops by ICE officers after two deadly shootings that involved motorists.
WABC News Time 5:22. Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil going to sue the federal government. Several private groups alleging they were part of a conspiracy to suppress criticism of Israel through a coordinated campaign to dox, jail, and ultimately deport student activists like himself. The civil rights suit that was filed in court yesterday names the Heritage Foundation, which is a conservative think tank, as the architect of what it describes as an ongoing conspiracy to silence members of the pro-Palestinian movement by smearing them as anti-Semites.
I don't want anyone to go through what I've been through right now, because if they can target someone for their pro-Palestine speech, they can target anyone in this country, whether they support Palestine or not.
Now, a spokesperson at the White House calls this lawsuit complete nonsense. The suit comes as Khalil's deportation case appears headed to the Supreme Court. 5:23, President Trump going to address the nation. Primetime speech tomorrow. He confirmed that election integrity will be among what he will cover in this address.
It's really big news. It's really, really big news. And our country has to shape up.
The president will reportedly claim that declassified intelligence reveals a foreign nation's plot to interfere in the 2020 election.
What we're going to be talking about Thursday is it doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things, too, but it's going to be a very big announcement.
The president will reportedly be joined by FBI Director Kash Patel, Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen, among others. The president has repeatedly claimed the 2020 presidential election was stolen and rigged. Two Supreme Court justices testifying on Capitol Hill yesterday about their annual budget request to Congress. Justice Amy Coney Barrett talked about the impact that threats have had on her and her family as the Supreme Court asked for more funding to increase security around Supreme Court justices.
They have required me to, my children, to think about and see things that children should not have to see or think about. One example is when threats to my life were particularly intense a few years ago around the time of the Dobbs leak.
Justice Elena Kagan, she joined Barrett as they appeared before this House Appropriations Subcommittee that handles Supreme Court spending, and marked the first time since 2019 that Supreme Court justices have testified before Congress.
It's also been reported in the news that roughly 6 weeks ago, I was the victim of a swatting incident. At that point, one of my teenage sons, opened the door to go out with friends and saw in our street, it was full of police cars.
And unfortunately, this has happened a number of times.
We have occasionally put up perimeter fences. We don't like that. We want to express a commitment to be open and transparent to the public, as I know other governmental institutions do as well. Occasionally, we have found it necessary, given the threat level.
Now, the High Court requesting a boost of over $14 million for the next fiscal year to increase security for the 9 justices. 525. Efforts to make daylight saving time permanent moving forward now. The House has passed the Sunshine Protection Act, which would set the clock to the time currently observed from March to November. Supporters say it would help farmers improve public health, reduce car crashes and crime. Florida Senator Rick Scott, he introduced similar legislation in the Senate.
So what this is going to do is give every state the opportunity to pick. But we're not going to go back and forth twice a year where everybody has to change their clocks and get used to different sleep patterns and things like that. So some state might want a different time. Have at it.
Now, opponents have argued year-round daylight saving time would push sunrises beyond 9 a.m. in the middle of the winter, making it dangerous for kids who are getting on school buses. The House bill now heads to the Senate for consideration. Doctors advising people to take bagged salads off their menu for the time being to reduce the chance of getting that parasite that has sickened thousands of people, sometimes known as explosive diarrhea. Health officials now saying a potential source for the illness could be lettuce and salad greens. This doctor, Dr. Josh McConkey, says he treated countless cases of severe diarrhea in the ER over the weekend. So his advice, he says, is pretty simple.
If you are going to buy lettuce, you want to have a salad, you need to buy the entire head. You need to peel off the first 3 layers and wash extremely well. My recommendation, do not buy any bagged salads at all.
Now, of course, what did I have for dinner last night? A huge salad. Dr. McConkey says right now, just about all the veggies and fruit should be cooked. And if you need to eat fresh food, he says choose those that are smooth on the outside because they're easier to wash. So bagged salads, fruits, apparently they think was behind this whole thing.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 15th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds. Today, another hot one. We're going to flirt with 100 degrees. Tonight and overnight, partly cloudy, low 77, and then Thursday, sun and clouds, warm again, high 95. If you're walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, 77 and clear in Clarkstown up in Rockland. It's 78 and clear in Ridgewood over in New Jersey, and it's 77 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 541, going to be a big day in the City Council. They're going to have a hearing today on a ban on horse-drawn carriages in Central Park, and there are some big names now really signing on to this. You have City Council Speaker Julie Menon, who says that she's in favor of this bill. Of course, it comes after the death of a teenager from India who was visiting the city and was killed in an accident, horse and buggy accident in Central Park. And then you had the accidental poisoning of one of the workhorses that died in Central Park.
The day has come for our city to begin the transition away from horse-drawn carriages as a tourist attraction in Central Park. For the safety of our residents, the safety of visitors from all across the globe, and the safety of the animals here at home.
Now, you get the sense they're going to get it done this time. So Menon said an important part of this legislation, of course, is guaranteeing future work for the current union carriage drivers. That's the big stumbling block here.
He was visiting New York from India to celebrate his high school graduation. Romanch's death was heartbreaking and infuriating. and sadly, it was preventable. At the same time, the path forward must involve and protect workers who operate these carriages. And I'm actively working on a plan to guarantee them quality employment opportunities in the hospitality industry.
Now, one person who's not buying any of this is Alexander Kemp. He's the administrative vice president at TWU Local 100, which represents these horse and buggy drivers. And he says this legislation, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't think they'll find jobs for these people who are making good livings or pretty decent livings right now.
There are several layers of the industry. There are owners, there are owner operators, there are horse owners. There are dynamics to this industry that we represent that no one is speaking to, because the truth is that then they would have to acknowledge that their interest is to get rid of the livelihoods of these workers.
Yeah, and he, of course, wants to make sure that these people will be taken care of. He doesn't believe this bill does that. A hearing on the bill, of course, it is set for a little bit later this morning. Out to Long Island, we told you this story yesterday about this grandmother in Suffolk County who was seriously injured after her 8-year-old grandson started her car. And then when she saw the car moving out of the driveway backwards, backing up, she raced out to save her 8-year-old grandson, like any grandmother would do. And as she did, she was hit by this Honda on Wellwood Avenue. Police say 63-year-old Gina Bennett was hit hard. I mean, she's in pretty serious condition by the open door, the driver's open door. And she fell to the ground, hit her head on the pavement. Neighbors, a couple of them were out there, and they saw this all take place.
I just saw the car afterwards, with the door was totally flipped open. So that was I don't know how that could happen.
Now, neighbors say the boy told them his grandmother permitted him to press the car's start button, but the rest was a terrible accident.
We came down here because they had the road blocked off, and we just, obviously curious to find out what was going on.
Yeah, Bente was brought to Good Samaritan University Hospital, where we're told she's still in serious condition. Neighbors say she was bleeding heavily from her head. Her 8-year-old grandson, he was not injured.
I just think it's tragic. It's just... I'm very sad about it, And it's like somebody's life changed in a day. I mean, they seem to be nice people. They always had the little kids out in the front playing and stuff.
Yeah, police just calling it a terrible accident. Of course, we wish Bente well and hope she has a quick recovery. In a moment, we'll talk about Captain Chelsea Sully Sullenberger. Of course, he's the one who landed his plane successfully on the Hudson in one of those great moments. He made a big announcement yesterday, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk, and here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noah Maladen. Sports sponsored by Pete Morgan at Pillows Boilers. Go to pillowsboilers.com to find a deal near you. Pillows Boilers, the world's best-built boilers. Out in Philadelphia, the American League is the winner of the 2026 MLB All-Star Game, shutting out the National League 4-0. The AL scored 3 first-inning runs off Philadelphia Phillies starting pitcher Christopher Sanchez, thanks to the Yankees' Cody Bellinger, the MVP of the game, and Ben Rice. Bellinger delivered a 2-run single, and Rice added an RBI single of his own. The AL continued to dominate from there, taking a no-hit bid into the 4th inning before Juan Soto from the Mets singled for the NL, one of just 3 hits on the night for the senior circuit. The Yankees open their second half action come Friday when they welcome in the LA Dodgers for the opener of a 3-game weekend series. As for the Mets, they'll remain in Philadelphia to open a 3-game series with the Phillies beginning tomorrow night.
Now, I'm just curious. I know it's a big deal, obviously, to be picked to play in the All-Star game, and it's probably fun to play in the game itself. But do you get anything for winning it? Does the AL players get some sort of payday?
It's a good question. I don't think so.
No?
Okay. There's no incentive anymore ever since home field advantage in the World Series was stricken. But that'd be an interesting Google.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger definitely gets something for winning MVP. That's for damn sure.
Huh.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Indeed. And checking in on the World Cup semifinals in Arlington, Spain advanced to its first World Cup final since winning in 2010 with a 2-0 victory over France. Kylian Mbappe and France, FIFA's top-ranked team, were trying to become only the 3rd team to reach 3 consecutive World Cup finals. They instead will play in the 3rd-place game in Miami come on Saturday. Spain will face either defending champion Argentina or England on Sunday in the final at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. And that semifinal between England and Argentina takes place this afternoon, 3 p.m. from Atlanta. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan at Pillows Boilers. Go to pillowsboilers.com to find a deal near you. Pillows Boilers, the world's Best Built Boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:49. Captain Chelsea Sully Sullenberger, who famously landed a plane on the Hudson here back in 2009, revealed yesterday that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. He put a statement out saying, "I recently found out I've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. It's early stage." He's 75 years old. For now, he says, this means a name may not come easily to me. I forgot a story I recently told, or I don't sleep well. But he says he's in the beginning of this journey. Boy, you've had all these people come forward recently with these diagnoses. You had Bill Ritter, of course, that was the Channel 7 news anchor, actor Danny Glover. He announced this as well. And I think this is a good thing that they're coming forward and letting people know, because I think that opens the doors for more scientific experiments and for other people to sort of just gather and talk about what this is like. And doctors weighing in on this announcement yesterday as well.
I want to thank him and others who have come forward with this diagnosis to minimize the stigma, because that has been one of the big battles.
Yeah, there's so many doctors doing research on this, but they really don't know where or how to prevent it. There are some medications that apparently help the brain, and people are taking those.
We also know that lifestyle interventions, including managing sleep apnea, mood, all of these have positive effects on the brain. Now,
I imagine just like Bill Ritter, when he announced a couple of weeks ago that he has Alzheimer's, Sullenberger started to notice things and then went to the doctor and he said, no, yeah, that diagnosed it as Alzheimer's disease. 550, the number of cyclopsoriasis cases here in New York State keeps growing. This is this explosive diarrhea thing. The latest numbers from the State Department of Health show 517 cases statewide, including 273 right here in the city. The New Jersey is reporting at least 33 cases. The intestinal illness is caused by eating contaminated produce. So the thought is maybe keep away from the bagged salad and fruits and vegetables, or at least really wash them well before you eat them right now. The symptoms include diarrhea, cramping, bloating, nausea, and fatigue. Now, the good thing is you can't get it from anybody else. You can only get it from eating the produce.
We want to think things like lettuce, spinach, kale, raspberries, strawberries, fresh herbs, things of that sort.
If you want to be safe, you want to cook your vegetables, peeling fruits so that you don't eat the surface. And washing can help.
Yeah, of course, it comes at the time of year you really want to eat those fresh fruits because they're fresh and they're grown locally. But the thought is wash them really good and you'll likely be okay. 552, while we're talking health, city health officials say at least 76 buildings on the Upper East Side have now tested positive for the Legionella bacteria in preliminary testing. That number is more than double the 31 cooling towers previously reported last week, which includes now a bunch of interesting places like the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Here was a tourist there yesterday.
Places like this, everyone is paying to come in here, right? So the finances to, keep this place afloat, you would think they would put that into, infrastructure, cleaning.
She makes a good point. Another popular museum was the Guggenheim. That also was tested positive right on Fifth Avenue. Some of the impacted locations include 3 private schools, a rehabilitation and nursing center, and a church. Now, the outbreak has sickened 63. That is as of last night, up 3 from the night before. So it's slowed a little bit. Hospitalizations have decreased, too, from 15 to 12 now.
Hopefully, this will be a good reminder for everybody to be careful and take care of their buildings.
Yes, cases have been reported across several neighborhoods, most of them, though, on the Upper East Side, Carnegie Hill, Yorkville, Lenox Hill. City Council member Lynn Schulman says a lack of resources is also a reason why the health department has not been enforcing a new law that mandates buildings to proactively test cooling towers every 31 days. She says it's time to get back to that.
When we passed the bill, the previous administration thought it was a good idea. This DOHMH thinks it's a great bill, and we just have to make sure that it gets enforced.
Now, that's as New Yorkers start to feel a little bit better about this, and now they know at least there's antibiotics. If you catch this early, it's flu-like symptoms, you'll likely be just fine.
Legionnaire disease? That's crazy.
I just can't believe it. This is such an elegant, fancy building, and it just doesn't fit with our expectations.
It doesn't matter, apparently, where you live. 554. Let's go up to Hudson Valley, where a homeowner there thought, hey, I can make some serious coin by using one of those rental apps like Airbnb to put my house up. This is one of these. This is a mansion. It's on Sapphire Road in Monroe. It has gigantic pool in the backyard, and they were renting it out for $1,800 a night. And the owner, Osher Zelik, said he was renting his 7-bedroom home to a family for the weekend. And he didn't find out till there was a party underway that he had actually rented the house out to a party promoter, and hundreds of cars showed up outside this house. And they threw this rocking party, and in the process, they did a ton of damage to the home. Neighbors watched on as just more and more people kept showing up. There was DJs out. They rented out a sound system. They advertised this on Instagram.
I can't count the number of cars there were going up and down our street. Literally hundreds of cars.
Now, video of the after party, or I should say after the party was over, show furniture overturned, trash covering the home, debris around this beautiful pool, broken glass panels. A 150-year-old baby grand piano had its legs snapped off. The owner says the damage extends well beyond some of the video that has been released. He says the walls, the couches, the beds, he says everything smells of marijuana. There's a leak in the ceiling. The sewer system was overwhelmed because there were so many people using the bathrooms. And now, of course, he wants to know what he can do to get his money back and money for the damage and repairs.
You have to be really careful, especially now knowing that this type of thing is going on.
Yeah, you always have to be really careful who you rent your house out to. You just never know. 555, a free swimming program in the Big Apple expanding thanks to new funding from the city council. Speaker Julie Menon, she was up at Lehman College's pool yesterday to give a $1.5 million check to the nonprofit group Wave Makers to teach more kids how to swim.
In these hot summer days like we're seeing right now, we don't want any young person to not be able to go to a beach or a pool and be able to swim.
You know, they should make this part of the school curriculum that you learn how to swim, right? It's such an important skill. The group says it has already taught thousands of kids how to swim for free at public pools across the city. Their long-term goal is to provide universal swim lessons for every second grader in the public school system. Yeah, there should be money to do that, 100%.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?